It's time for the Bookie and the Bettor Show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy Wike, the Bettor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bookie and Bettor Show, live from downtown Reno, and my favorite all-time guests.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Wike. Nick Schulte.
Rob. Hey, Rob.
I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. Thanks again for joining us for this episode on Wednesday, June 27th. Yes, find us earlier now as we are.
Hey, can you believe this is July 1? Seems like the Super Bowl just ended. And here we are past really we're getting halfway point of Major League Baseball.
Remember when you said that you weren't going to be able to handle much of life because the football season was going to come to an end? You didn't know.
I am having withdrawals. But, I got a little excited because we got OTAs and some of these mini camps, getting the juices flow. You see the guy out there with their shorts and helmets running pretty good pass routes, I might add. And then you see some of these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, actually looking good in camp. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So much phrasing happened in that last 30 seconds. Yes, actually, correct. Randy, it is 36 days to the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. I'll come up with a line at some point.
Thank you, America.
It's way, way too early for that. But yes, 36 days. But who's counting? Game 7 was played. The Florida Panthers, your Stanley Cup champions, they get to etch their names into that beautiful Stanley Cup. I had a couple of thoughts. Obviously, it was a great, great game. 1-0, tied 1-1. Florida goes ahead late. That last period pretty much was tilted. The entire ice was tilted. All I saw was Oiler possession after Oiler possession.
Shot on goal. And I think we were talking before the podcast. There was a good 2 minutes, I think. Florida's goalie didn't even have a stick. And he's still blocking shots.
shots.
And there was a few times right before they scored the go-ahead goal where they were right down there, and I thought for sure they have it, and then they missed the shot, and the other guy skates right down, and they go up 2-1, and that ends up winning the game for him.
Another interesting point, I don't know if you guys know this. Out of the last 18 NHL 7th game championship games have all went under. 17 out of 18.
That smells about right.
Yeah.
There's no way you'll find game 7s where one team or the other are playing like ultra aggressive hockey.
Yeah.
Even a little trivia next year, if it goes 7, bet the under in game 7. Sure winner.
Yeah, it was definitely a defensive game for sure.
I think actually when you take a look back, I looked at the last 3 minutes. I started to wonder at what point was Edmonton looking to pull their goaltender. In my opinion, I think they pulled him way, way too late.
Yeah, no, I think they're about 4 minutes left.
Yeah,
at that point,
the season's
literally
done, right?
It's win or go home. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one.
Well, and you're saying the goalie didn't even have a stick for 2 minutes.
No, I mean, props to Florida. I mean, their defense stood up. And,
thank you.
And I mean, I wanted Edmonton to win, but it was just watching, even through the first half, you can kind of see that the better team definitely won that.
That's exactly the point. Point being is I had a thought that this was going to be a moment where they needed to pull this goaltender and get themselves into a position to put as much pressure as they could. But a testament to Florida Panthers defense, especially their neutral zone play, which really just stopped any kind of momentum going deep into the zone. That's why they weren't able to actually pull their goaltender and get themselves into a spot to start pressuring. But
and the other thing I thought, Florida, looking back at game 5 and 6, the onslaught with Edmonton, because they were a great scoring team, no question in the NHL. They made a lot of great adjustments for game 7. Granted, they're back home, all the excitement of the final game. But I'm going to tell you, you mentioned defense. Oh, there's a lot of checking going on. I didn't see the actual game, but I watched the highlights, and I'm telling you, there was some checking.
Yeah, they were playing.
Unfortunately, that's basically what it comes down to. I saw Florida as much the best throughout the series. I think at one point, in game one, you could have bet the series price. It was basically pick 'em. After 3 games, of course, he had the Oilers as low as like a plus 750 to win the cup. I mean, during the season, they were like 5-1 at some point, even as high as 12-1 to come back and win 4 straight. But I think Edmonton, in some places, a couple of my colleagues actually close Edmonton as the tiniest of favorites at right around puck drop. But ultimately, Edmonton, a great performance. They just got gassed. Yeah, and the last 3 minutes when they needed the most, they just, even after the timeout, I mean, I don't know if you guys even saw it. After the timeout, they were still looking gassed. Yeah. Just didn't have it, which really makes you wonder.
The last 45 seconds, when the puck's all the way down, they pulled the goalie and there's just no oomph behind their skates. They're just kind of, and I'm like, there you go.
That famous lyrics comes to mind. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
And here we go. I was thinking about it during the game. Obviously, it didn't happen, but would they have just keep gone to sudden death, or would it have been a shootout at some point?
Never in the playoffs. No shootout. Okay, you play.
That's kind of what I figured as much.
Actually, wow! I never. Right. If you push it through and you go into overtime, you're still gassed. Yeah. Yes, you get the break that you get a natural break in between periods to re-ice, but you're still gassed. Mm-hmm. So. I would have, you're right, now that I think about it, I would have probably made Florida a big favorite in overtime rather than the conventional minus 110. No. Great point. On to other things. UFC 303 happens this coming weekend. It is, of course, on the 29th, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Was supposed to be the main event of Michael Chandler against Conor McGregor. McGregor, clearly, after tweeting out his x-rays of his broken toe, he's not fighting, right? He's going to postpone it and fight Chandler at a later date. But
and how did he break his toe?
Training.
Just training.
That's it. Got
he
stopped
wasn't
on
drinking his booze, his own line of booze now, right?
Never drink your own product.
That's what I'm just asking the question.
You train as you fight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. So
yeah. That's what I say. Connor, get healthy, buddy.
The person that I'd like to focus on is Reno's very own Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is posted to fight a bantamweight fight at his weight class against the Desert Warrior. Giannis Gamurri is flying in all the way from Lyon, France.
Where's he from?
Lyon.
Right.
He is 12-2 as a pro fighter. Of course, Peyton Talbot, 8-0 in the UFC, 13-0 in his professional rank. Anyone want to take a little guess here? We have this price up right now for a bit. Anyone want to take a guess what the price might be?
Let's see, Peyton minus 225.
225 to win $100. Randy Wike.
Kids 12-3. I would be around $2.
$2? Okay. Peyton Talbot's minus 1,700. The highest price anywhere on the UFC board by far. Matter of fact, he's so much the favorite that the next highest favorite is Joe Pyler at minus 300. Actually, I take that back.
Opponent,
Ray Cesarea is minus 450.
And his opponent's dropping down in weight.
Giannis Gamurri is 12-3. In his first UFC fight, which was the only one, which was his last previous, he got TKO'd. So in this previous, obviously, he was 12-1. UFC record 0-1. That being said,
so that's why he's tanking.
Yeah,
wow. Going down in weight class, Peyton Talbot, Reno's very own, minus 1,700.
Rob, we had him just starting on our radio show last year, right? Yep. It's amazing this kid's 13-0. Congratulations, Peyton. Get him, local boy.
Absolutely. Peyton Talbot, most ranks have him as the number 38 bantamweight. There's some incredible names in the bantamweight division. Giannis Gamurri, for his work in the featherweight class, he's number 127 in the featherweight. Going down in weight, not quite sure what that's going to do for Gamurri. Peyton Talbot has got about an inch on him, about another inch in height, about an inch and a half in reach. And that's kind of been the MO for Peyton Talbot throughout. So it is going to be UFC 303. We've got all of the odds for that fight and every other at the book at Baldini's. Right now, the times are still to be announced, but he is on the prelim list, which makes me think about 5 p.m. Pacific is about when that fight should go.
Cool. Good luck, Peyton.
Good luck, Peyton Talbot. So the other things that I wanted to touch on, obviously, we looked at the end of the Stanley Cup final, UFC 303. Let's move a little bit to current baseball season right now. Gentlemen, I don't typically cover baseball because there's so many games, and it's become a regional sport. I tend to really not focus in on it day to day. But, every once in a while, I have to open up the laptop and say, I don't know, who's good right now? We're getting near the All-Star break. Gentlemen, I'm going to take a guess who the greatest baseball team by record is right now.
Yankees,
good guess. Randy?
Well, I would have said the Yankees, but and I would have said the Mariners. I haven't looked at it. It's not the Minnesota Twins, though, right?
Number 3 is the Yankees. The 52 wins on the current season. The second highest payroll, $307 million. Number 2, the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah. 52 wins, 27 losses. They've got the 4th highest payroll with $245 million. Your number 1 team with the best record of 51 wins and 26 losses. The Cleveland Guardians. I didn't see that.
Who?
And I'm going to go one step further. They've got the 26th highest payroll at only $100 million.
Major League. They're going to have another movie with these guys.
So it must be noted, while everyone's saying that the Guardians, the past, 2 nights at least, I've been watching them kind of been playing a different kind of game. We had them with a season win total of 76 and a half. They've got 51 wins. We're not at the All-Star break.
Wow, I didn't know. I hadn't noticed that.
Okay, so
that's good.
Clearly
good
much above for the division. Gentlemen, let's forget about the World Series for a moment. Buy or sell Cleveland Guardians as your ALCS champion.
So
I'm selling them. Second half, going to be tough. And again, it's the depth on the pitching staff. And I don't know if it shows their ERA there. But again, once they get to their middle closer and the closer, middle relief and the closer, I don't like them.
I think we can say this. Short of this season halfway through, I don't think the Cleveland Guardians have ever been good.
Major League movie.
But were they the Guardians?
What's his name? Who was the previous?
Have the Guardians ever made the playoffs?
Not under the Guardians' name, no.
Exactly. So
94
was the last time.
Was the last time they were going to be good, and they canceled that season on them.
I was 9. I was 9 years old.
You were youngish.
Now they're looking. They've discussed Miller, from the A's, who he's kind of done a Patsy Cline lately, but clearly, I think he's the best closer in baseball right now. He's just on a terrible team.
Mm-hmm.
I know Cleveland's one of the teams that are interested in him, as well as the Dodgers,
right?
And and the Orioles. But if he gets over there to Cleveland,
yes.
Again, I just telling the stat: 9 games since last Wednesday. Teams have blown it in the 6th, 7th inning. It's going to shatter the major league record this year of most blown leads after the 5th inning. I don't know where the closers or the middle relief pitchers are. I'm coming out of retirement. I can still throw that doo-doo. The fastball doesn't have the velocity anymore, but I can't do any worse than some of these guys.
Emphasis on throwing that doo-doo, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I do want to just go ahead and take a look once we'll come back past the All-Star break. We'll go and actually get your takes on division winners in Major League Baseball and then beyond and see how we can play this thing out because very, very much of note was Cleveland's record. Tonight, by the way.
That's a shot. I didn't know that.
In Baltimore, it's Rodriguez against Carrasco. Baltimore, big favorite, $1.85 at the book at Baldini's.
Well, they're terrible.
9/20.
What are they? They've lost 6 in a row or 5 in a row?
They've done bad lately. Yeah.
The old days You're probably too young to remember, but we used to call it the June swoon. Mm-hmm. Teams always kind of did a Patsy Cline once the temperature got up there. And you look at back there in the Midwest right now in the East, I couldn't believe the other night I'm watching the Orioles, and the pitchers were just soaked. Their whole uniforms were totally dark. So I think that's playing a part. It'll, when June comes, you start getting that heat up. Chicago Cubs the other day was very squelching hot in Chicago. So you always get June. We'll see if, and we'll talk about it in a minute, we'll see if some of these teams bounce back.
Cubs have no excuse. The White Sox have an excuse. But yeah, those two Chicago teams have been absolutely brutal in the final innings, I could say, at least for the month of June. You guys, I'm telling you, you guys really are trotting out the most overused sayings. I think you said Patsy Cline twice in the last 10 minutes.
Have
Randy.
Again,
and then Nick, your dog's days. You know what? Next episode, we're going to come up with a Mount Rushmore of most overused sayings. I'm already going to carve it in stone right now. This Burgess Meredith song that you keep bringing up, I don't even know. What year was that from?
Well, again, you guys are a little younger than I am, but I used to watch Howard Cosell and Don Meredith Monday Night Football, and Don Meredith would always sing it when the game's out of line. He didn't want Howard to keep talking, I don't think. He would sing that song. And it's kind of caught on now. When teams are horrible or the game's over, turn out the lights, the party's over.
You know how much he loves to sing.
Did he say that he watched it or listened to it? Because I didn't think they had TV back then.
Nah, it was Transistor AM.
I'm up there.
Transistor AM. Gentlemen, the draft for the NBA is tonight. Yes, the book of Baldinis is very active in this, as much every other book might be. Let's talk about what happened in Brooklyn and New York. The Knicks, the Villanova Knicks is what happened as they went and did a massive blockbuster trade for Mikal Bridges of the Brooklyn Nets. Bridges, of course, the leading scorer, almost 20 points a game, about 4 or 5, I think close to like 4 rebounds and almost 4 or 5 assists. The best player that he's got on the team. Mm-hmm. Now joins the likes of pretty much what was the winning, college team from Villanova that won the championship between Brunson and Josh Hart, Dante DiFincenzo at Villanova. So a very young core being built. Brunson 27, I think Josh Hart 28, DiFincenzo's 27. Tom Thibodeau's got himself quite an assembled team. Of course, yes, Boston Celtics, we just talked about last week how they are the defending champs, and they too are very, very young and built what looks like to be for a very long run as well. But hey, it's been a bit that New York's can actually talk about being of any good significance.
The Knicks, are they giving up on Randall now? Is that?
Oh, no.
So he's part of the mix.
And he is part,
this
yes.
Trade
it'll be Villanova plus Randall.
Wow.
So, of course, looking at what the Nets did, let's give them a massive hand of applause. I think they got about a dozen, maybe I might be off. It might be even like 16 first-round picks in the next 3 years. They have completely...
First round?
First round.
Jesus.
They're going to be able to just completely do anything that they want and rebuild
they're going to rebuild that whole team.
As they're going to have to. So much to the future of the Brooklyn Nets. But
the Villanova Knicks. I kind of like that.
If you're a Knicks fan, you got to be excited because, I think that's kind of up there with, if you're a Knicks fan, you're a true fan of the sport because it's been a rough
It's been a bit.
Couple decades.
It's been a bit.
It's kind of like Cleveland Guardian fans.
Yeah. Touche.
So, all right, tonight, the draft. Obviously, Atlanta with the number 1 overall pick. The question is going to be, how do they make this work? How do they make this not so that years from now they're not staring at themselves and saying, man, did we ruin this? Did we blow this number 1 pick? Because not exactly as defined as it was last year with Victor Wembanyama. This year, it's either Alex Sarr or, I'm going to say this name correctly, his name is Zachary Rizache, both very young kids.
And where's he from?
Both of them were from France. However, one played in a developmental league in Washington, D.C. and Australia, but both from France.
Lyon, France, right? Isn't that what he said to me? Lyon.
Well, Lyon is a city.
Well, that's what I said, Lyon.
Right, they're not from Lyon, though.
Yeah. Oh,
They're from France.
Close enough.
Close enough, yes. So the question is it going to be Sarr? Is it going to be Rizache? I'm not quite sure if it's one or the other. I think ultimately, if I had the choice, it would be Sarr, because I think that a kid that's got already, everyone wants to say, okay, so how does he project? What is he going to become? And the things that I saw and that I read, and I watched a couple of his games, kind of looks like Kristaps Porzingis if he forms into that. So he's got that kind of build. I think it would definitely make Atlanta far, far better than they are today. But the questions, of course, surrounding all of these players and, how they can eventually, make themselves into the first round. So I'm going to go and say that it's going to be Sarr for the number 1 overall pick. Don't hold me wrong if I am, because I've been quite wrong with these number 1 overall picks. I think the Rockets, Houston Rockets, end up trading down. There's a chance that they might go and take a look at their top 3 position and grab a hold of Reed Sheppard from Kentucky, who's an incredible wingman.
And looked very good, by the way.
So good.
He's looked really good in these camps.
So I think that if there was a top 3, there we go. That would probably be my top 3, which then makes me wonder, where does Steph Castle go, who's pretty much the star of UConn, right? To me, he seems to be like the most well-rounded person that if you said, okay, I'm going to trot you out with a bunch of really no one else's, he can become the star of the first round. So who ends up grabbing him? The final thought here as we wrap up our show is, well, there is a name that we all know, but it's not who you expect. It's Bronny James. Bronny James, the discussion, and my colleagues are saying, yes, we are getting lots of bets on this particular athlete. Forget about getting drafted in the first round. They're talking about him getting drafted number 1 overall. Nick, let's go ahead and start with you. Bronny James drafted in the first round, buy or sell?
I'm going to sell that one all the way down the river.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't, looking at stats, it doesn't make any sense. Now, if there's some backroom deals where maybe, hey, do the Lakers draft him? That's a possibility. Or does another team draft him with hopes that they can maybe lure his dad over? It could be a possibility. But short of those 2 scenarios, I don't see any reason why. I mean, what pedigree does he have? He didn't no playing time at USC.
Nope.
He's not that big. I mean, what's so special about him that he would be drafted at all, if not first overall? I mean,
well, and I think the interesting point, and again, to pinpoint Lakers right now, 2 of the best high school athletes were Kobe and LeBron.
Okay.
Bronny's not in that same mold. And again, it's all about development. So obviously he plays in the G League or whatever. If you risk that kind of money to go number 1 with a kid that really hasn't proven himself, and God bless him, he's done very well, but he does have a medical ailment. Do you risk everything on hoping you can develop this kid? And again, like you say, he's not the 7-footer.
Yeah.
And he's not a pinpoint guard that can light you up with 40% from 3. So I wish him the best, but I would not risk putting him up there in the top 5, top 6 picks of the
Okay,
NBA.
forget about that. How about a little bit deeper?
1.
Okay, very good. How about the first round? 1 through 32. You're not taking him in the first round. Very good. Let's stay and end our show with the Lakers. JJ Redick is now the LA Lakers head coach. His total combined coaching experience previous to last week is 0. He has no coaching experience.
I thought he was like a high school coach or something.
Maybe
that counts.
ESPN analyst.
He is a television analyst, and he brings what he's going to bring to the LA Lakers. So
we all know who the true coach of the Lakers is. So, and to that point, I think they might draft him. Just because I'm sure they're going to listen to.
Well, but here's the thing, and Jeannie Buss and this team is in deep trouble. You had some great coaching talents out there, and they really underpaid what they were going to try to do for these kids. I mean, or these players, men. So they haven't. Okay, you're going from the collegiate best coaching to a guy that's never coached an NBA game. I'm reading between the lines. Is it going to be a yes man to basically answer to LeBron? Yeah. Because the Lakers don't want to put emphasis on the coaching staff. Why?
How many coaches has LeBron gone through in his NBA career? I mean, it's short of Eric in Miami.
Yeah, right. Spoelstra.
There's every team he's been on has had multiple coaches, and it always seems like there's. And so, if you're a coach, why would you want that job?
Pre-draft, okay, and this is perfect timing for us, I guess. We know what the roster is. There are 8 guaranteed roster positions right now. Of course, we know of the big 2, and we have J.J. Redick. That is your body of work. 47-35 was their record last year. Number 7 in the West. Better or worse than last season's record, Randy Wike?
They're going to be worse. And again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. They don't have a third definite score.
Nope.
They're 2 studs, if you will. It's another year older for them. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, they're in great shape, no question. But once you start looking at injuries and an 82-game season, this team is in trouble. And J.J. Redick is not going to pull him out, especially a guy that hasn't been coaching. I'm afraid he's going to be a yes man. I'm
afraid he's going to have to put on a jersey himself and shoot the ball. Yep. Nick Schulte, 47-35, 7th best in the West. Better or worse?
Definitely going under worse this year. And kind of just off what Randy was saying. I don't see anything there for them. I think they have some issues with the personalities on that team.
I think we'll probably see more moves in the next couple of hours as we lead up to the NBA draft. There's always a bunch of trades that happen during the draft.
Yep.
And we'll see if maybe the Lakers actually do find a way to position themselves significantly higher and make themselves better. Well, with all of that, obviously the menu continues to grow at the Book of Baldini's. It is still deep in the heart. We're actually near the very end. It's probably in the group stages right now of both Euro 2024, Copa America, all of these events, not to mention still regular rotation of WNBA games, Major League Baseball as we head into their All-Star break, UFC, PFL, any kind of fights that we have to offer, including boxing matches, which we'll have, of course, every single weekend. Do come on by and visit us at the Book of Baldini's.
And you know, Rob, if we can, I want to plug a Nevada kid, ex-Nevada quarterback, who right now is one of the best in the CFL, and that's Cody Fajardo. I mean, Montreal is, I watched him the other night, and he's exciting. You know, he's not tall, but, you know, Grey Cup, MVP, and I'm telling you what he did the other night. I think he had 353 yards passing. Great for an ex-Nevada player. Good job, Cody.
Quick question on that point. And
yes.
It's going to be funny, but true question. Do they have yards or meters in Canada?
They have rouges. Rouge. Oh, okay. Rouge is worth a point.
Okay, again, he knows Lyon, France, and he knows rouges. I go by yards and inches.
Is it really called rouges?
You score a rouge.
First and 10 rouges?
Score. If you get a rouge, it's worth a point.
You truly, only a sportsman would know that.
But is it 10 yards or is it 10 meters? Because a yard is a foot. I mean, only America, I think Yemen use that system. Everybody is on metric. I'm just kind of...
Friday, June 28th.
Well, it's Snoop Dogg. Yeah, we got to talk about 200 meters there. He's...
Montreal, a 3-point favorite at the Book of Baldini's at the Toronto Argonauts. Definitely the game of the week for week number 4 in the Canadian Football League, which, yes, Randy, yet another league that we offer at the Book of Baldini's.
That's correct. The best things happen at Baldini's.
For Randy Wike and for Nick Schulte, I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. Thank you so much again for joining us for yet another episode of the Bookie and Bettor. See you again next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettor Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.